Hello, everybody. It is Saturday. No, it's Sunday, February 21st. It's very cold, so my brain is not quite working. Match day 25, home to City. This is the Richmond Gooners podcast for the day. I am Ryan. We are here with Tom.
Hello, hello.
And with Joey today.
Oh, where the Wellermen come to bring us sugar and tea and rum.
And it is still sea shanty time in the year of our Lord 2021. So, it's City. And they're running away with the league, and I feel like this game actually went better than most of us thought. But,
I agree.
In the end, the result was kind of what we expected. But
we normally get pumped by that.
We do.
It wasn't what I expected because, I hate to say this as an Arsenal supporter, but I expected to get done up today. And after the first 15, we actually weren't terrible.
Exactly.
We were actually decent.
Yeah, the end result, the shift in the table is what we expected, but the way in which it happened was actually pleasantly surprising.
The shortest guy on the pitch scored a header against the second tallest.
How do we let Raheem Sterling? We got a couple of big sons of bitches.
Couple of fir trees in the middle.
Pablo Maria 6'4", and
it's written in the fates.
Yeah,
Sterling always scores on us, and I actually said it. I said it out loud. He always scores on us, and then.
I don't think anyone here was surprised.
No, Orbinho had that stat where City scoring in their last 10 games against us, and all their first goals within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But
a few of those games in the last year, we've beat them. We beat them 2 or 3 times in the last couple of years.
But we're not a come from behind team this year, and so once you go down, it's kind of where it is.
True.
But we started the day in 10th. We've been hovering there, and
2 points behind Tottenham. Man, I wanted this one.
I wanted it because I think we might have moved up to 8th.
Yeah,
maybe?
And after that game this morning, it's always fun to watch Tottenham go down.
Yeah.
But it would have been even more delicious had we actually, gotten something out of this game
it would
today.
have been scrum-diddly-umptious, neighbor.
Chef's kiss. But, it wasn't meant to be. But, you look at the lineup at the beginning of the game, and, it was good to see Tierney back starting, Mari back as well, even though he kind of was a little bit rusty from the start. It was good to see those guys get back in rotation.
I feel like that was Pablo Mari's first start in the league since he got hurt playing against City.
He's been out. No, not last. No, he's played this year. He started this year.
Has he started in the league this year? Or
he's only been injured for 6-8 weeks, something like that. I want to say he played for us in November.
In the league though?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he did.
I think he had one league match. Yeah.
But I just remember I just hadn't remembered seeing him.
Yeah.
And I did think I remember that because I think he played really well that match.
Yeah, and he's played really well for us in general.
Rob here. He's leaving.
But Rob's got gambling to go do, so he's got to go do some research.
He's got gambling to go do and kids to go take care of. I put 50 on Newcastle drawing this game to Man United right now.
That's a solid bet.
But if it hits, I win 235. So, all right, bud. See ya.
What do we think of? I thought it was unusual to see El Neni start.
It was a little bit because Ceballos has looked pretty good lately.
But we needed more of a defensive presence against the team.
I think
that's a strong going forward as City. So I actually agree with that. And I thought El Neni played decently today.
Yeah, he didn't do anything bad.
No.
But, he
generally did his job, and he gives you more than what Ceballos gives you in defense. I think Ceballos obviously gives you more going forward, and Ceballos has really improved his defensive presence and his defensive skill set under Arteta, but, El Neni definitely gives you more. He just knows how to mark. He typically just knows how to mark, man. Knows how to keep a man in front of him, with the ball.
Well, Ceballos' whole thing is that he kind of dribbles dudes into oblivion, and I feel like against City, that's just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Where a De Bruyne is going to come in and see you kind of just stepping over and going in circles and just pick you apart. So I think having somebody who's just a more stay at home, just kind of straightforward defensive midfielder, probably made sense.
I always say about De Bruyne, all the tricks and things and the things that guys like Sterling and Foden and Bernardo Silva and those guys that are on that team. De Bruyne, skill-wise, can do anything that any guy on that team can do, and he could probably do it better. He just is so good that he doesn't even need skills. His basic skill set is so strong that he doesn't even really need the step overs and the chops and the friggin'
just his pitch awareness, he sees those gaps that he can exploit, and he can see you kind of Ceballos, I like what he brings going forward, obviously, but if he sees you kind of thinking about what you're going to do next, he's already a step ahead of you.
Yeah, true.
So, like having somebody who's just a little bit more like, let's just do my job and get going.
Yeah.
Probably makes sense. My question is, why has Martinelli not started in an Eon?
I don't have that
I don't
answer.
understand. Yeah, I don't have an answer for you there.
I mean,
I feel like we could have used him in this game
because Martinelli, he changes like beyond what he actually does to physically affect the game. I feel like when he's out there, everyone is just a step faster.
He changes the attitude
and a bit
of the
more
whole
energized.
team.
And yes,
Yeah.
exactly. The attitude of the whole team is much more energized. And I mean, maybe he hasn't completely recovered from his last knock, and they're just playing it super careful. But I was sure when we didn't play him last Sunday that was so we could start him in Europa.
Yeah.
And he didn't come in until what, the 70-something minute?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And so like.
In his last outing, he had that great diving header. He plays defensively well. So it's not like certain players you say, all right, he's going to give us a lot going forward, like Ceballos, but he's kind of a liability the other way. Martinelli hustles back. He recovers. He can win balls. I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I would love to hear Arteta's thoughts on that, and just have someone asking the question like, "What is going on?"
If there's anything, there's a handful of things to celebrate. Number one, we only lost 1-0.
Oh, sure.
I think.
It's a moral victory, sure.
Number two,
hate moral
William
victories.
did not play today.
Yes,
we
that
can
was
celebrate that.
Yes.
So everybody, if you're anybody
cheers.
out there,
If you're
cheers.
still drinking,
Glass, yeah.
as we are,
William
you hear
did
the
not play
clinks.
today.
But
And
what's number 3?
I don't have a 3.
Well, there you go.
All good things in threes. I don't have.
We
a 3.
we didn't go down in the table by losing.
Yeah, that's
today?
true. I mean, well, and like we were
No one got sent off.
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be my
Yeah.
third. No one got sent off because
David Luiz and Xhaka and Bellerin
when
played.
Luiz
Yeah.
came on, and everybody knows this, but it's reputation fouls every time he
Yeah.
goes up for a 50-50. Someone could jump up with a cricket bat and whack him in the back of the neck, and it's still a
He get
foul
called-
on
he get
him.
called.
Yeah.
Foul get called against him.
Yeah, Will saw a tweet like, I don't know, like in the 30th, 40th minute by one of the supporters clubs. Like, can we just hurry up and get to the red card already?
Yeah.
you just felt it coming as like things were not being called in our favor and we're being called against us. And you go like, you
Yeah.
know what? Like one of those 3 dudes is getting sent off.
Yeah.
Because in
And
a lot of
I-
ways, VAR has ruined the game in the sense that if there's a goal, we all like to celebrate and kind of lose our minds.
But then, is it really a goal?
And yeah, you get the rug yanked out from under you, and then B, as an Arsenal fan, you go into games like this and go, who's going to get sent off today?
Yeah,
and not
the,
only
the
sent
clear
off, but-
refereeing agenda. I mean, we're generally we're a group of fairly intelligent people, so we understand that it's bias and that whenever a call goes against us, we think that that's natural if you're a fan of a sports
It
team.
happens.
But just if you look at the stats, there's so much stuff. We were talking about Bellerin. Bellerin is amongst the last couple players in the league in fouls, and yet he's
Fouls
first,
committed, yeah.
first in yellow cards.
Yeah.
I mean, is the referees association saying that that's a coincidence?
Yeah, I mean, it seems insane that his few fouls would all be just reckless as
Yeah.
shit.
Are we saying that he commits a yellow card offense every time he commits a
Yeah,
foul?
no.
Yeah.
No.
And somebody tweeted the graphic, I don't know if it was Orbinho, but it was making the rounds that VAR decisions for and against. And I think we were second from the bottom, if not the bottom,
Yeah.
of VAR against.
Yeah.
So it stinks. I hate VAR for that reason, because even if we have a really, really good shout at something and you just go, well, we're not going to get it because VAR just never works out for us.
VAR never works out. Remember that game against Crystal Palace last year where Chambers got fouled like 3 times and en route to scoring a goal?
Yeah. And then the foul was on
sometimes
him.
he got called for a foul.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
Somehow he got called for a
He
foul.
was the one who committed the foul. And
and the David Luiz red card from a few matches ago.
Yeah,
I just don't understand.
To have Southampton's that week overturned, but not ours.
I just don't understand how and in what world is that a red card?
I mean, there are so many things about that are wrong. Like
Yeah.
number one, there's
I'll never understand.
like I hate to be tinfoil hat guy, but there clearly is some sort of an agenda. That's one thing to work out. And another thing, I'll shout out Sean over there, Red Card Radio. They brought it up that the offside situation. We didn't have to deal with it today, but like these goals that are being called off because some dude's armpit hair is offside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their point was, and I agree with this, and I've said this about football, instant replay as well, like American football, is that I think your replays should be limited to full speed rewatches only.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have to freeze it and get your laser grid out and draw lines and get your protractor,
It's not a clear and obvious error.
It's not a clear and
Right.
obvious error,
Yeah.
and it's against the spirit of the game.
Yes, thank you, because it ruins the game. For going back to the yanking the rug out from it, it's exactly that. It slows down the game, and here's ultimately what I think it is. Getting my tinfoil hat also is it's almost like politics. People are making the things about themselves. So I think a lot of the referees do this.
Ref show.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the Clattenburg show all over again.
And it's been discussed many times, but English referees that get invited to the World Cup, next to none.
Yeah, Wenger had that.
Because they're fucking trash.
And they're out here issuing cards and, calling foul throws, calling the if a goalkeeper has the ball outside the box before he punts it. It's allow things to flow, because I brought this up on Thursday when we were watching at Gus's. The referee for the Benfica match, fantastic. He allowed the game to flow. You saw bodies flying, and I joked when the game started, like, our players must be relieved because A, they're not in London, B, they don't have an English referee.
Yeah.
Guys like Granit Xhaka are probably going like, I can play freely today. I can play freely.
Actually play like
because
my
they don't have that Xhaka reputation.
It's almost like when jazz musicians escape to Paris. They're like, man, I can play here and nobody's going to arrest me for talking to a white woman. And these guys can play the game, and David Luiz can go like, I can slide tackle somebody and not get red carded.
Yeah, and like you don't want to turn it into a bloodbath.
Yeah,
like the referee obviously has to have
He's got to keep
over
control
the
of the
game.
Yeah,
but as long as things are happening within the flow of the game, and like again today that was not our issue. Like the refereeing overall, like it was a little inconsistent, but that was not why. Like again, like I think we overperformed.
That's not why we lost.
No,
yeah.
we outperformed my expectations, and I think a lot of our expectations for the game. But it's there have been enough instances recently where it's just like, can we please just like back off this like over officiating and overly inserting themselves into the game.
Speaking of foul throws, Will, who is a referee, basically he told me every game you've seen in the last 15 years, you've seen at least one or two foul throws.
Yeah, absolutely.
And only somehow Hector gets called for it.
Yeah.
And it's, like there was like a free kick that is, they blow it for a moving ball and then you got to roll it back. It's like, no, screw you. And they just take it. And then the second time is fine. It's just like, it feels like a lot of the times the refs just want to insert themselves into the conversation.
They just want to feel important. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like that much is frustrating. Yeah. And like, in a game like this, City's going to get the benefit of the doubt because they're 10 points clear of the league and we're not. And like,
I think we're at 20 start of the day. We were 22 behind them.
Yeah. I mean, it's a long way where, and we are where we are because of who we are this year and whatever, but like you just know you can take a look at a game and go like, who's going to get the calls today? Well, they are.
And that's what really stinks, obviously, is they are arguably better at every position except for goalkeeper and left back. And
City?
Yeah. And we were right in there with them. We were right in there with them. And
so you're saying Leno is better than Ederson?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I'd agree.
And in fact, think about it. Ederson, what was that, like the 80-something minute? That ridiculous attempted clearance he had, it went right to El Neni.
Yeah.
And we every one of us, and then El Neni puts it wide. I mean, if El Neni buries that one, statue outside the ground.
So Ederson, Ederson in the last few seasons has kept 64 clean sheets.
Yes, but how much of that is an element
next closest
of,
player is next closest keeper is Alisson, who is at 50.
But how much of that is related to the fact that they have 75%?
I'm not saying it's better. I'm just presenting a stat.
Yeah,
I like Leno too. If I had to choose, I'd choose Leno. Yeah, because I think he's a better pure shot stopper.
He is, and I like Ederson.
I think Ederson is a very good goalkeeper.
He's a very good goalkeeper.
We're not saying
he's
crap.
No,
yeah,
but he has the benefit of playing behind the City outfielders.
Yeah, behind Ruben Diaz and Aymeric Laporte, who are two of the best center backs in the league.
And they're guys going forward who maintain possession of the ball in the attacking half the whole time.
Man, we made Diaz look like prime Beckenbauer today because there were two moments.
Diaz is really good.
And then
I'm not saying he's Beckenbauer, but he's
John
very
Stones
good.
was great today. And I'm thinking, John Stones
Ruben
is
Diaz
playing well.
is as far as active players. Virgil van Dijk is injured. I would say Diaz might be the best active center back in the league right now.
Well, but to your point about Stones, I mean, he was good today, but then he also got away with just blatantly shouldering Aubameyang
Stones
past the end line.
is made to look good by the players around him.
Yeah, but I mean, he's just out there just.
I think Rob Holding is better than
around.
Stones. If you pit the two of them,
and Rob Holding was great apart from that.
Yeah. The first goal,
That's a tough one because
would I take
the only
Stones?
goal.
Probably, but I think Rob Holding is a better player.
Holding, I don't know if it was a matter of him and Mari just not being used to each other yet, or what was going on. But like Holding, just
I
kind of
think that might have had something to do with it.
he looked like he was a little bit in no man's land on that goal because it's like we said when in the open, you've got the shortest guy on the pitch getting a free header by like 3 yards.
that should
against
never
two
happen.
dudes that
Should
are over
never
6
happen.
foot tall. Like that shouldn't happen. Like he shouldn't be able to sneak in there.
Yeah.
You know, he's not like wearing an invisibility cloak. You can see
And
him.
Marty is a unit. He's like 6'4",
And like when he
6'5".
has played for us consistently, he's looked really good.
Yeah.
And I had a friend text me right after that goal and said, I wish I were playing against Mahrez today because I would force him onto his right every time. And I'm not saying that he's crap with his right, but Tierney is a great player overall going forward and as a defender. But early doors, Mahrez was turning him inside out, and he was allowed to use his left
Mahrez
a
is
lot.
really, really, really good.
Yeah, didn't somebody be like, oh, hey,
Yeah.
who was it? It's like, who's that guy who bought that Arsenal Mahrez shirt? Hey, there's still time.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
me, yeah, because somebody bought a Mahrez 26, and I'm thinking, oh, we'll get Mahrez come 2025. We'll sign him.
Mahrez, today is actually his 30th birthday. He turned 30 today.
Oh, wow.
Well, so happy birthday, good for him. But yeah, the Arsene Wenger almost 11 strikes again.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, as
Mahrez
as it always
Mahrez
does.
on the right, Cristiano Ronaldo on the left.
Yeah,
I mean, Tierney, obviously I'm wearing his name on the back of my shirt, had some really bad passes. Absolutely fizzed one from long distance. Man, if he'd hit that one.
Yeah.
Because, to your point, what a good keeper Ederson is, because a lot of keepers would allow that to go in.
Yeah.
That was a tremendous shot.
Yeah.
And then by the second half, he warmed up.
Statistically, Ederson is the best keeper in the league.
Right.
I'm not saying he is on the eye
yeah.
test.
Well, yeah, exactly. On the eye test, you say, well,
Because I would still take Leno over
because
Ederson.
Ederson is just not tested the way that other keepers are because
He's
he's
not.
got City's team in front of him.
Yeah,
Right, he's got Fernandinho and-
Leno from last year, that proved to me that he's a good keeper because he did really well and he gets peppered
our
with shots
defense was
every game.
garbage.
Whether it's Wolves or Southampton or whether it's Man City or Liverpool.
That diving
he's
save
peppered with
against
shots.
Trent
TAA. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the best saves I've ever seen.
I mean, and even this season, he's made just some incredible saves that have kept us into things. And
He made one today off of was it Gundogan?
Yes.
yeah.
What a save that was!
And I was actually, for me, because the games are almost perfectly spaced out, I've watched City's last 3 games just with pure interest. I mean, if you're a neutral, you have to watch City because it's just...
I mean, they're
They're going to
entertaining.
win the league. It's
They're
entertaining.
to watch,
It's good football.
Right, unlike, say, Chelsea, where they would win titles just by suffocating people.
Yeah, just they would play Mourinho ball. It's like, I don't want to watch that crap.
Yeah,
Gundogan-
Mourinho teams, a lot of 2-0 victories. They score 1 goal in the first 15 minutes and another goal in the last
Gundogan's
15
just
minutes.
been on a tear. He's arguably been the best player the last 2 weeks, just passing,
the last 2
dribbling,
weeks,
scoring.
he might win Player of the Year this season.
Yeah. And
He is the reason that Man City is where they are.
And
Well, wasn't
if
he
Man
like-
City is a record, if you drop the stylus anywhere on that record, you can pick somebody that's a nominee for Player of the Year.
Yeah, we're looking at their bench today. It's like, God, all those guys start for us.
Yeah,
I think Gundogan might actually win Player of the Year this year.
Didn't he? Wasn't he basically
over
a bench guy
Grealish.
last
Over
year?
Grealish.
Yeah. Yep.
Over Grealish. Okay.
Because Gundogan is, like I said, Gundogan is the reason that Man City are first in the table right
Yeah,
now.
because they've done a lot without.
He's been their best player for months.
and Aguero
Months.
and Kevin De Bruyne.
They've been hurt.
Yeah.
They've been hurt, and obviously, as soon as they saw Man
Gundogan has
City,
stepped up.
as soon as Man City saw that Arsenal was coming up on the fixture list, they rise up like Lazarus. They're all of a sudden like, "Oh, I'm healthy, I'm ready."
They rise up like a phoenix from the ashes.
Yeah,
But didn't Gundogan? He was mostly a bench guy last year, right? Like he didn't
He
get
was,
a lot of run.
and I've always been I've been a huge fan of his since he was at Borussia Dortmund,
Yeah.
and I've always just loved his game, and I always thought,
plays as a 6, can play as an 8.
yeah, he could do
Yeah.
it. He can really do it all. But at one time, City's midfield was like Fernandinho and Kevin De Bruyne and like David Silva. So like who is breaking into that midfield?
Right.
I mean, it's like the Real Madrid.
It's
midfield.
yeah, exactly, like Real Madrid with Casemiro, Modric, and Kroos. Like who is
Yeah.
break? Ceballos is like he's got to go on loan to us because he's not breaking in that midfield.
Yeah.
Odegaard's not breaking into that midfield.
And apparently
until
they-
those guys get to be 36, 37 years old.
Well, what I saw was that Real is like Odegaard made some comment about like a shirt number with us next year. They're like, oh, we don't want to let him go. It's like, what do you need him for? Like, why do you need Odegaard?
Yeah.
You have the midfield of the century.
Well,
right
I
now.
will say that 2 of those 3 guys are in their 30s.
They're getting up there.
Kroos and Modric are in their 30s. Casemiro is still like 28, maybe.
But like those guys still have like 3-4 years of dominance left in them. And like,
I think so.
And like, if you're Odegaard, like, do you want to just like hang out behind them that whole time? Like, I wouldn't.
It's one thing to be on Madrid, but it's another thing to be playing for Madrid.
Yeah. It's like,
you look at Kovacic, he had that excellent Euro for Croatia, goes to Madrid, doesn't do anything, goes to Chelsea, did well under Sarri. I think it was Sarri.
Yeah.
Then didn't play much, and now recently Kovacic has been great.
Oh yeah,
I've always been a fan of his. But again, he's so good, but he's not bringing out the midfield. By the way, after a little research, Kroos is 31, Modric is 35.
Yeah,
so
Modric
35
is up there.
Yeah. Okay, so that's fair. I mean, that's probably, you got about a 2-year window on
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
So you mentioned 2 names just now.
Kroos is one of those players that's gonna be good till really good till he's
like 36,
36.
37.
Yeah.
because he's technically sound.
He's never had pace, but he's always been that good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's a lot like Schweinsteiger.
Absolutely.
With his technical ability, he doesn't have to. He can all the balls coming out of the defense go through him, and he directs it. He does it for Germany. He does it for Madrid.
I've always been envious of him, and I think there was probably a 2 or 3 year period where I considered him the best midfielder in the entire world.
Well, like when Germany won the World Cup, I mean, he was central
Instrumental
to that as well.
Yeah,
He was. I would say that Ozil was more instrumental in that World Cup win, but their midfield just was so strong and powerful.
There were no holes anywhere.
There were just there was no
right. There's
gaps.
there was a weird one, that one, because you had
2014.
Yeah, well, because you had
Then the next year the next World Cup they flamed out in the group stage.
because in his nickname in Germany is Giftsvag, poisonous dwarf. Because Lahm was the best right back in the world, but then he was playing defensive midfielder, because in that World Cup they put Mustafi in at right back.
Yeah.
And people were like, "That's not his position." I'm like, but if
Lahm was that good.
Yeah,
Just like Kimmich, I think Kimmich is in the same mold where he can.
He's close.
Yeah, he's great right back, but he's also an elite defensive midfielder as well.
I guess here I'm just answering the question: were there any gaps on the team? Yeah, at right back there are gaps, because when they put Mustafi got rinsed against Algeria.
Sure, yeah.
That's fair.
And that Algerian squad.
Who was that? Was that El Mohammadi or?
Yes.
It was El Mohammadi or Bayrami or one of those. Their
Algerian team was good.
Yeah,
yeah.
They were very good.
They took it to him. And then, because I was always mad because my favorite player, Kevin Grosskreutz, did not play 1 second of that tournament, and they put Mustafi in.
That's because he's bang average.
Well, Grosskreutz is an athlete. He's in Dortmund. They call it a Perla.
He's an elite athlete. He's a bang average footballer.
Yeah, but so is Mustafi.
Well, but
Mustafi is a below average footballer.
Well, there you go.
But you say but Grosskreutz played every position on the field: striker, goalkeeper, every single position.
Sure.
And then
listen.
and
When you're the characteristic that you're known for is your versatility, that means that you're not a great footballer.
Yeah, you're not great at anything.
You're just versatile.
But
you're good at a lot of things, but you're not great.
But you're still
at
better than
anything.
Mustafi at literally anything.
yeah, absolutely.
He's a starter for the Borussia Dortmund team that should have won the Champions League if Dante had been sent off for putting his foot right.
Yeah, no shit. That okay.
Right.
I'll give you that.
Because he
started at right back for that team, right?
He would do
Or
right
like
back.
right midfield.
He would do right back. He would basically left outside or right outside.
Oh sure, yeah, yep.
And I mean, he had a really, really good goal. I think it was Marseille away. I forget.
I'm not saying he's a bad player.
Yeah, he's because Puma had a hat at the time. It said the word Perla on it, Pohler, like the lady from SNL, which is basically like a workhorse.
Yeah,
and that's part of why I like
a machine.
Yes,
engine.
and for me, I like cult players. You ask your average Arsenal fan in America, like, who's your favorite player?
It's not going to be Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
They're going to go Bergkamp or Thierry Henry, one of those two. Like they like
of
really,
all time, sure, yeah.
And for me,
or Adams or somebody like that.
Yeah. So for me, I liked that guy, and Grosskreutz, he came from the Yellow Wall. I mean, he was a born and raised fan. And I wish more players were like that, because he was a guy that
I like that guy too. I like that style of player, and in a lot of teams, that player has been my favorite player. But I'm not gonna say that he's like the best player. I'm just saying I like him more than other people.
All I'm trying to say is he should have started above Mustafi.
No, that's fair. That's absolutely
he should have. Absolutely, I agree with that.
But we digress into the comings and goings of Die Mannschaft. But
so what I was going to bring up was the 2 Madrid players.
Yes.
Kroos and Modric.
Or the ones that we have, the two that we have.
Ceballos and
Ceballos and Odegaard.
So, because obviously Ceballos, his time it's slowly. June will be here before we know it. Odegaard also. Odegaard definitely. There's no option to buy. I don't know if there is an option to buy on Ceballos or not.
I think there is on Ceballos.
Okay, so with Ceballos, is it a matter of price? No. Is it a matter of price, or judging by its past 3 performances with Ceballos?
Oh no! What a goal! Holy shit!
United just crapping on him.
Rashford. Whoever 17 is for Newcastle just got his soul. Is that Javi Manquillo? Oh, no, that's not Manquillo. I think he's 19, if he's even still there.
But no, to your point, Tom,
is Ceballos, put 2 or 3 more moves on him. Someone that we want?
Well, am I choosing between Ceballos and Odegaard?
No.
Or is that in a vacuum?
The question I think is Ceballos an Arsenal player?
It's in a vacuum because I would say after we finish,
he's not a starter, but he is not a reserve, but he is a sub. A bench player.
Because I thought Ceballos.
I think Odegaard could be a starter.
Even though he didn't get a goal, I thought Ceballos was our best player against Benfica. I thought he was superb.
Yeah. By the way, I voted for Saka as man of that match, so apparently I'm a wank stain according to Tom.
Because
I don't appreciate being called a wank stain.
Because Ceballos was doing everything, and Saka is going to get his MOTMs. So I think similarly with the Bergkamp and Thierry Henry thing, I think people look at goal scorers and go, he's the best. Yeah. But Ceballos was doing so much work.
The thing about
for me, Saka's influence on that game far exceeded Ceballos'.
Okay.
That's just me. And
you're probably right, because Ceballos didn't even get nominated by the official Arsenal feed.
Yeah.
Which bothered me because they even had Odegaard.
He was one of our best players. I will absolutely admit that. But I think that Saka's influence on the game. If Saka wasn't playing that game,
we would have lost.
We'd lose. Well, and if Ceballos wasn't playing that game, I think we could get the same result.
My question about Ceballos, and my only reservation, is that there's restart Ceballos, who was a baller, and then there's first 3 months of the season Ceballos, who was a dumpster fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now he's figuring it out. So I don't know if that's
he's somewhere in the middle right now.
He's kind of in that gray area now. So I don't know if it's a matter of getting used to Arteta, or getting used to what he's being asked to do, or getting used to how much playing time he's getting. If he can settle in, then yes, absolutely.
That's a great
another
question.
thing. So I'm sorry to interrupt, Tom, but so in the question of is Ceballos an Arsenal player, we do have, I believe we have an option to buy, but I think that option is at somewhere around 30 million.
Yeah,
quid.
Which is a little high.
So there's 2 questions. Is Ceballos an Arsenal player? I think the answer is yes. I think he's a sub, but is he an Arsenal player that we want to pay 30 million quid for?
22.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm not sure we play 30 million quid for
22. Him. 25, I'd be upset, but I'd still pay it.
Yeah, 30, I think, is just teetering on too much.
He's still pretty young, isn't he? He's only about 20.
Yeah, he's young.
27,
he's young.
28.
No, he's younger than that.
He's like 20. Yeah, that's because when we sing the song, The Kid's Fucking Magic, I don't just say that because I'm double his age, but...
Yeah, he's 24.
So 24.
Yeah.
So, think about players out there in the annals of the game that were 24 and we're like, he's
in the annals of the game.
Yes,
that's for our next podcast.
That is for the
that's for the Arsenal RC podcast. Yeah,
yes.
All right, that's the podcast.
I'm going to work on that logo
Tom and I are
next week, by the way.
So I guess it's settled that we would like to see Ceballos for the right price. Odegaard, on the other hand,
I spend more on Odegaard. I see a lot of.
I don't think Madrid wants to see him go.
him.
I don't even think that's going to be on the table.
I don't know if it is either because as we talked about earlier, Luka Modric is 35.
Yeah,
and I think Odegaard is a slot in, Phil Foden and David Silva sort of situation. And we already have the replacement. He could just slot right the hell in.
And I want to say traditionally,
Odegaard is
22. Yeah,
so he's got all kinds of time.
And I want to say traditionally, there is a I think it's a La Liga rule that you're supposed to have a release clause. His loan
it's not
deal,
supposed to have every single player in La Liga has a release clause.
And so his loan deal to us, there's no option to buy.
There's no option to buy, so as far as we know.
So I might be cynical here, but I'm convinced that he's going to go back, and we will probably never see him again.
Yeah, either that or
unless we pay his release clause and he agrees to stay. I don't know what his release clause is, but if it's 40 million, I'm paying it.
Yeah.
And if we're going to shout people out, my good buddy Mike at Gooners Pod mentioned it. He threw it on Twitter. What are people willing to pay? Because I think Madrid only paid about 4 to 5 mil to get him.
45. I thought they paid like 16 or 18 mil to get Odegaard.
mean, this is
because it was a big deal to land him.
Well,
let me see if I can do some research on this.
Was he
I guess
bought out of the
maybe
League?
maybe that like, let's not like get at 6s and 7s about that, but like if they were to offer him and say, let's talk horse trading here, Ødegaard to Arsenal, what are you willing to pay? Because he was really, really good against Benfica.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But today I was like...
I thought he was kind of invisible today.
Yes. I hate to say this, but I like to use the expression, some people hide from the ball, and I felt like he was hiding from the ball.
I wouldn't say that. I just don't think he got
no,
himself
Tom,
in the
I think
right
you're
position.
right. 3 or 4 million, which could have risen to 8
Right.
to 8.5. That's in euro.
So like
because when he got signed, a lot of people were like, what? You don't know who Ødegaard is? Like, I have no idea who he was. And like, oh, it was such a big deal when he got signed. I was like, I don't remember that at all. So if he's such a big deal, I forced myself to not curse. A big deal doesn't...
So about £7 million that could rise to.
Yeah.
So, all that aside, if Madrid says, all right, if you want to acquire his services, you want to get his contract, what would we be willing to table right now to get him?
I would, if it was me, I would pay in the, say Maximin, 1-1.
All right, Newcastle.
1-1 United Newcastle.
Now there's a player.
Yeah.
I put some money on the draw in this game, so this is good for me.
But no, I mean,
People looked at me like I was crazy. But Ødegaard, I would pay in the 40 to 50 million quid region.
Really?
I
Okay.
would.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously an upside.
Because I see a massive upside to this guy.
Well-
it's like what I saw in Bukayo Saka 18 months ago, and now he's setting the world on fire.
Well, and Ødegaard slotted right in. Like
Yep.
the first game that he started, he was a boss, and so like having
Yeah.
that level of comfort immediately, and he's only 22, and he's new to the Premier League, and he's ready to go and roll. I mean, he was great in that Leeds
I'm
game.
an admirer of people that can master the through ball, and
Yes.
he's got a through ball that reminds me a lot of a young man that had that quote unquote Barcelona DNA.
Cesc Fabregas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know
I agree.
he's getting a lot of comparisons to somebody whose name I won't mention that came from Madrid, but I was like, no, I think he's a lot more like Fabregas.
Whose name also started with a funny O?
Yeah.
Traded one for the other. Here's an interesting question. We all know that Barcelona is financially a dumpster fire. What is Madrid like? Are they like potentially in the same
Probably not,
situation?
because the government
No,
gives them
Madrid
these-
is backed by the Spanish government.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
They give
So-
them what is a quote unquote grant, but if there's no,
They're never in financial peril.
if the APR is at 0, it's not really a
it's not really much.
It's not a loan; it's a grant.
Yeah, it's a
Sorry, I
grant.
said
Here's
that.
some money.
Or if the
well, that's
APR is
fair.
at 0.00001%. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's also, I guess some people know this, some don't, but Barcelona, politically and socio-politically in Spain,
Oh yeah, it's
like the rest of the country looks at them because they're always at the stadium.
Catalonia is a whole other thing.
Right, they had the whole thing like Catalonia is not
Autonomous
Spain,
region of
and-
Catalonia, yeah.
They actually have their own national team too.
Yes, and
They don't. They're not like
I can
FIFA
only
recognized
speak
or UEFA
construction site
recognized.
Spanish, but they're Spanish. They're with the X's.
It's a dialect like Creole is here.
Yeah,
or like-
X's. It's like X's and K's.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
Catalan is a whole
It's
other
a
thing.
dialect. Yeah.
So they look at Barca as like the other guys in Madrid. They're like so the government funds.
They're
them
the establishment, yeah.
To be like the official Spanish
Yeah.
club team. All right, well that's fair. Because my thought was like if there's some like hintings of financial shittery there, maybe we get them for a bit of a deal. But I guess not.
I mean, you raise an interesting point because traditionally, if you're good, you're always going to want to go to Madrid. For instance, the guy that we almost had, you mentioned the Arsene Wenger almost 11. Well, the Mikel Arteta almost 11. Aouar.
Yeah.
We almost had him, but his brother, who's his agent, wanted his.
Yeah,
He wanted like
ridiculous
10 million quid.
agent fee,
And then
yeah.
now,
Something stupid.
And then now,
If he wanted $1 million, you know what I
Well,
mean?
sure,
Or
yeah.
$500,000,
Yeah,
that's
but
one
10
thing.
million, that's
10
ludicrous.
million, that's a lot of money, bro.
but then now his attitude has changed, and he's apparently acquired a taste for wanting to go to Spain. But I'm going to think that Spain probably doesn't have the money because, as far as I'm aware, the English league is the biggest worldwide.
Yes.
That,
it's also the best, in my opinion.
Yeah, like
in
you
a
go
lot
to
of people's
Africa, you go to
opinion.
Australia, hell, you could go to goddamn.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, I cursed.
Qatar,
it.
China.
Yeah.
Well, like a buddy of mine sent me this. There's a documentary
Qatar,
on. I think it's a prison in. I want to say it's Nigeria, maybe Uganda. It's some Central African country.
Sure.
And they have a soccer league, and all of them are like not all of them, but like the big teams. Like they all have like kits and everything. They're Arsenal. They're Man U. They're Chelsea. They're not. We're in Barcelona. I mean, there might be a Barcelona, but the Premier League is the league that is known worldwide.
Yes.
Right, because you go to an
Above all
airport.
else.
I always judge my interpretation of fans in every sport is who do I see at airports. And when I see La Liga, I only see Madrid and Barcelona.
Yep.
Kids. Whereas the English
I've
league,
seen Wolves and Southampton shirts in airports.
exactly.
I mean, I saw 3
You know what I
dudes.
mean?
I was in DC yesterday. I saw 2 dudes.
I've seen a
wearing
West
Tottenham
Bromwich
gear.
Albion shirt in an airport.
I want to say I saw a kid in a Chelsea shirt. I think obviously the top 6 teams, but I mean, you know, I didn't see anybody wearing Barca or Madrid stuff in DC yesterday. But you know, and I'm, you know, that doesn't that's not the be all and end all, but like it's what everyone knows.
Yeah.
And part of that is because we, you know, in America have NBC showing the Premier League. I feel like that's part of it.
Sure.
But also,
Soon
like,
to be the cock.
yeah, soon to be
Peacock?
straight cock time in USA, I guess. But
there's a lot of cock on TV.
Got to
in America.
subscribe to the cock to get Premier League.
And you
games
mentioned
next
West
season.
Brom. I want to
Cock
bring
Premier.
up briefly my other son,
Mainsley.
almost scored yesterday.
Yeah.
He played very well for them. I would say he was their like maybe second best player yesterday.
When he
And
scored,
he's
I was
been
ready
given
to
a
lose
free
my
role
mind.
there. And he is
Yes.
a free like midfield / attacking
Right.
role there, and
'Cause-
he's really shown me something.
And I'm not one of those. It's irony, but I hate a lot of Arsenal fans build up their Twitter popularity based on this fan base, this toxic fan base, this fan base. And there's a lot of Arsenal fans out there that think Mainsley's not all that good, and that Mainsley needed to go, Mainsley needed to be sold. But Mainsley was fantastic, and I feel like if he has a free role to do whatever he wants, then I mean, I'm not saying he's going to start for Man City, but he could.
Yeah, I mean, I think the knock on Mainsley, especially this year, was that he has been shit going forward. But to your point, I think that's because a lot was being asked of him defensively.
Right.
And so if you give him, like, you know, I mean, he's definitely more of a natural midfielder than he is a right back. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, and he especially, I mean, who knows if it's true or not, but apparently he told Arteta that I don't do windows. I don't want to play right back.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of the world is going, you're at Arsenal,
Yeah.
you're being asked to do this. Think about it. If you're going to get into the national team, if you want to start, if you want to play, like you can be at Arsenal, but you're not going to play. If you're going to say that I only want to play central midfield, defensive midfielder, you can do that, but you're not going to play. But hell, Flamini, another one, cult hero, didn't walk into training and go, Arson, I'm only going to play defensive mid today. You know, the Champions League run, he played left back. Another one, similar to the goal scorer from earlier. Flamini can play anywhere, and Mainsley arguably could play anywhere. Wide left, wide right. Hell, even striker. I mean, I remember he scored a goal against Liverpool, was it like 3 or 4 years ago when we wore those ugly mint green outfits?
Oh, yeah.
Scored a header.
Oh, that was if Mainsley scores, I'm buying everyone shots, and then we got to proceed to get beat down 5-1.
Yeah, so I remember I'm looking across the bar because there were some Liverpool fans here, and it's always amazing because they have their own bar, but somehow
They just roll in.
yes, like it's like rats that you just can't get rid of, man. They just keep turning up.
But no, I mean, you're not wrong, and like the attitude is, you know, obviously an issue. But like now that he is at West Brom and he is being allowed to do what he wants to do, like he is showing his quality. So
Right.
I feel like maybe, I don't know if the loan spell humbles him, or, you know, like if say West Brom ends up getting sent down, which they're probably going to be. You know, sorry, Big Sam, it's not going to last forever. But like maybe having that experience might remind him that, hey, being at Arsenal, you know, is its own thing. So maybe you should figure out how to do what you're being asked to do, because he clearly has the quality. And so like you put him, getting him to like apply that in the situation that he's needed, I feel like he can still contribute in a great way to Arsenal.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. I so wonder sometimes. I think, yeah, what you said earlier, sometimes he's questionable going forward, especially that Crystal Palace game.
Yeah.
I feel like the Crystal Palace game is how everyone encapsulates him. That they think about that. In particular, he had that back pass that went for that failed back pass that went for a corner,
Right.
and then you know guys like Rob roasted me because obviously Mainsley is he's my favorite player. However, when we play teams like Liverpool, he locks people down. I mean, he's a great defender.
Yeah.
And there really aren't that many people on the current Arsenal squad when you go, that's a guy that can lock people down. You know, because behind us there's TV going, NBA going, and Gary Payton used to be known as the Glove.
The Glove, yeah.
And
Rap gang, Garrett Payton.
yeah, and Mainsley is arguably that guy. That
I don't think I would ever argue that, but
I mean,
Yeah.
I think he's athletic, and that's why he gets away with a lot of stuff on the defensive end.
But also, like
Yeah.
Tierney is sort of there. Like he makes the guy that he's guarding run ragged.
yeah.
You know, like he may not be like a traditional lockdown defender, but he's going to wear a dude out just by his sheer effort.
Also, are we only talking about fullbacks? Because Gabriel is by far our most lockdown defender.
Gabriel's our best defender, period, yeah.
And by a considerable margin.
I guess I'm going with Mainsley because Mainsley is a sign. He's
Hayland.
And he's gone up against...
You like him because of that.
Well,
that's fine.
There's that, and he's gone up against people like Salah, Mane.
Yeah.
Whereas, Gabriel, center backs aren't going to get as much, I don't know what to call it, face-to-face, one-on-one. Like they're going to...
I don't know that I agree with that. Well, I think against a team like Liverpool, where their power is in their wing play, sure. And that's the example you gave.
Yeah.
But against a team
center backs aren't like tracking dudes running down the pitch like a left and right back.
Right,
are.
like Mainsley has to go up and down.
So what you mentioned, that is athleticism. But Mainsley has that.
But that's a thing that is needed.
It's important, absolutely.
Well, especially in a league that has kind of divested itself from up the middle play and has a lot of dudes running the wings and trying to cross balls in, like having somebody who can track a guy down the side. Sure.
Now that's a really good point. That's a really good point. Athleticism today, and especially in England, is more valuable than athleticism in 2011, 10 years ago.
Yeah, because as the traditional number 10 goes away. And
because the teams that had the best technical players were winning the league in 2011.
Yeah.
Right.
But now the teams that have the most athletic players, like Liverpool and like City. Because Liverpool, I don't think they have the most technical players, but the run that they went on when they won the league and also the Champions League, like their midfield isn't the most technical guys. It's just they're absolute stallions.
Yeah. And they gel.
Wijnaldum and Henderson and Fabinho, they're absolute stallions.
I really don't want to serenade them.
No, but to your point,
I'm
Tom,
not
you're right,
serenading
too.
them,
Also,
but I'm saying I agree with that point that you guys are making.
But also, like, and you're right, Tom, like, they gel. Like, it's, and part of the problem is that, like, we are clearly trying to figure things out and, like, find our way forward. And it's hard to, like, in a league in which, like, familiarity and being able to play with the guy next to you is, ever so much more important.
Pablo Marie and Holding, when I saw that announcement today, I was kind of shocked. I thought, man, David Luiz and Gabriel would be the way I would do today.
I mean,
I kind of want to see Gabriel. It's weird because they're both
Marie together.
Yeah, they're both left-footed, but I want to see Gabriel and Pablo Marie together.
And that's an interesting point because I hear that a lot, Twitter or other podcasts.
I think they might be our two best defenders.
They are. So, that's a philosophical argument. Do you want your two best defenders, or do you want a left footer and a right footer?
Right.
Because Gabriel and Luiz, when Luiz is on, he's flawless. But he always, obviously, like when he came in today,
how often is he on?
He's been on lately. He's been off lately.
Sure. Yeah, I give you that.
But we're due. We're due.
We're due for a fucking
for a Mustafi moment.
David Luiz red card.
Because we're going to Leicester, and Leicester was excellent against Villa.
Yeah. This stretch, let's talk about this stretch for a minute.
Sure.
Because we've got, the whole coronavirus situation being what it is. We have Benfica away in Rome. Then we come home for City. Then we have Benfica at home, but it's in Athens. And then we come back to England for Leicester. I don't want to blame circumstances and travel.
Then Burnley, then North London Derby.
Yeah, it is.
Then West Ham, who are currently the best London team in London.
Right. We were all having a good laugh over West Ham beating Tottenham this morning, but also they are the best team in London. Yes, they're doing the Lord's work. There's no denying that. But also, like I said in the Slack today,
thank you, Jesus.
Was it delicious? Yes, but are they better than them right now? Yes. Also, they are better than them. So it's a brutal run for us. So
Do you think if we played Tottenham next weekend? Think we could take them? I think we
hell
could
yes.
Take
yes,
Tottenham's a dumpster fire.
Tottenham are in free fall right now.
No, Tottenham,
because I got to say, man,
we lost to City, which City should beat us.
Of course,
right?
City should have beaten us 3-1.
But Spurs should be beating West Ham.
Yeah, on paper, yeah.
I mean, the way
with the talent that they have, West Ham have about 4 players.
Yeah, the guy
that are pretty good.
The guy that was bleeding from the head.
They have Declan Rice.
Souček.
They have Souček. Yeah. They have Soufal. And they have
Lingard.
Lingard.
But Lingard
looks like a footballer right now.
I never respected him, but he
looks like a proper footballer these days.
Last 2 games.
I fucking hate to say that.
Fabianski played really well.
Yeah, Fabianski has been very, very good for 6 or 7 years now.
Like him and Chesney.
Since he moved to West Ham from Swansea, he's been quite good for them.
Him and Chesney flourishing after they left us is actually kind of, I kind of like it. You know, like our goalkeeping has not fallen off, but it's like, man, look at these dudes we had, and look
who
what
we
they're doing
developed
now.
as goalkeepers.
Exactly, like they have balled out.
Chesney is the number one for the best team in Italy, and one of the best teams in Europe. They're easily top 3 or 4 in Europe.
What do we think of Bellerin today? Because I feel like that's going to be.
He earned the hell out of that yellow card. I'll tell you that. But you know what he also did? He made damn sure he wasn't going to get a red. He planted both his feet and said,
he
"I'm
planted his
you
feet
out."
to the ground. He said, "I'd rather twist my ankle. I'd rather break my ankle than get a red card.
I'd rather
today.
get folded in half as long as I don't get a red. But I am also going to take you out."
I mean, no foul throws.
Yeah.
The yellow, I'm 50-50 on that one. I thought he was good. I just feel like I haven't looked yet, but I feel like he's probably going to get absolutely roasted as always.
I don't see that. I mean,
Bellerin said, "I'd rather my leg fold like Takeshi 6'9" than get a red card."
No, I mean he was there. There was some good moves going forward. He had a couple of good crosses. He didn't get like blatantly exposed at any point. I mean, I think he had a solid game.
Right. Yeah, because I thought it was interesting. It seemed like City really chose to attack on Kearney's side. Kieran Tierney, KT's side, which is normally not what somebody would want to do.
I think they were going after him because it was his first start since the injury.
And obviously, in the first 15 minutes, it paid off for them.
Right.
Second half, it just seemed, to use a Reddit term, TLDR, too long did not read. I felt like today they were just City. I mean, City's going to win the league.
Of course.
It's set. That's nailed on. They won the aerial duels. They won the 50-50 balls. Even guys like El Neni that will normally win a 50-50 ball, just against Fernandinho, it's just not going to happen. Whether it's on the air, I'm not going to be upset about this one like I'll be upset about Burnley or even hell when Villa absolutely pumped us 3-0. You know, that was upsetting because they kept attacking Hector's side and just were really, Ollie Watkins getting goals on us. I'm curious to see what if Arteta, if he's on the bus after the game, what does he tell our guys? What do we take out of this?
I think we played them better than most would have expected.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine sent me a tweet where the guy was like, Pep straight up told his dudes not to embarrass Arsenal because Arteta's the coach, and that is garbage. We had that brain fart in the beginning, but I would arguably say, like, if we're gonna go man of the match, honestly, after everything, like Holding, like he had a couple of really great bodies on dudes. He had a great, a really well composed tackle in the box to like stop a chance. In the, I want to say, I got the notes here. He trucked like at least 2 dudes. The 49th minute, like right at the start of the second half, there was a really dangerous threat, like right around the edge of the 6-yard box on the left side of it, and he just he didn't lose his cool. He just got down, blocked the ball, and shut it down.
But generally, I thought Pablo Mari was better than Holding today because I feel the goal was Holding's fault.
The goal was yes, and the goal, and that's what I was gonna say. The goal kind of disqualifies him, but at the same time, like
for me, it's Pablo Mari.
But like Holding recovered
at like
and
maybe
played
a 7
well,
out of 10,
and Mari played well too. And so you look at what we all. I think most of us expect the City to get 2 or 3 goals at least.
Yeah.
And we allow 1. And it's disappointing not to get 1, but I feel like that's you hate to say moral victory. But to answer your
moral
question,
victories
Tom,
are empty for me.
Right, but to answer your question, Tom, if I'm Arteta on the bus, I'm going to say, look, no one expected us to be challenging them and pressuring them at 90+2 with a chance to take points out of this game.
Yeah.
I think most people would have expected this game to be out of hand by then.
Yeah.
And we were in it all that way, and so I think.
Well, we were in it for 90 minutes.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like that to me is what you take from this. Like, look, we all know that, like, personnel-wise and, just general flow-wise, we're not quite there yet, but this to me was a step in the right direction.
What about Aubameyang? I'm mixed on his.
Will made the point that the way we were trying to play today, Lacazette would have made more sense.
It did not suit Aubameyang.
Yes.
It did not suit Aubameyang.
Yes.
It would have suited like Saka and Pepe. Even though Pepe both of those players started, and I thought they were really dangerous looking at times. But just this game did not suit an Aubameyang start,
this
especially
game-
an Aubameyang start through the middle.
And I thought Lacazette had a brilliant chance when he came on.
Yeah.
And normally he is greedy, and that's been one of my big complaints because we were defensively. You know, we brought it up last time. Orbinho pointed out like we give up the second fewest amount of points or goals. And then today, Lacazette is driving down the middle, and they were just staying away from it. I'm thinking, hammer it. And I think it's kind of an overall thing for us. He doesn't like to shoot. Erdegaard doesn't like to shoot.
Yeah.
And I wish our guys would shoot.
Yes.
Fuck me. I just probably 5 times I can think of that. I'm just like, man, somebody just have a shot.
Yeah.
Take a pop. Just test Ederson.
But
You know what
no,
mean?
I think
which is why, and we pointed to it earlier. Ederson is so quote unquote good because he has less to do than a Leno, you know what I mean,
Right.
or a Fabianski or guys like that are actually really really good shot stoppers. You know,
And obviously, they all know what they're doing. But when I saw the lineup, I was shocked. I would have gone with Laka and Alba. In the
Laka down the center and Alba on the left.
Yeah.
I would've gone
and
with Laka
Pepe or
and-
Saka on the right.
Laka and Martinelli though for me.
Oh yeah, Martinelli. Yeah,
You know,
I don't understand how Martinelli does
There-
not see the field today.
I feel like there has to be something off with him. I mean,
or we're just really being cautious.
yeah. I mean,
I think maybe we learned our lesson with Jack Wilshere because we
Yeah.
burned him out by the time he was 20.
I just
You know
hope
what I mean?
I just hope and pray that it's not a Guendouzi situation or an Ozil situation where like there is something up with him and Arteta.
I don't think so. His attitude is top notch.
Exactly, and that's why I wouldn't believe that
Yeah,
because like
there's just
to
no
your
way.
point, Tom, like he does run back and play defense.
Yeah.
And he'll
Yeah.
go all over the pitch. So like I don't think
He
that's what's
runs-
going on.
he
It's
runs
got to
his
be
ass
an
off.
excess of caution, you know. And like I want him out there. We need him out there. But like
Yeah.
honestly, to your point, Joey. You know, I don't want to do a Jack Wilshere or to make a baseball parlance, you know, go Dusty Baker with Mark Pryor, you know, and just blow people out.
Yeah.
So, like, if this is, you know, this year, like, admittedly, this year is kind of a lost year anyway. So, as
Yeah.
long as we're not, like, losing development
I
with
mean,
him.
all our eggs, I think, are in the Europa League basket at this point.
They
We're
are.
not finishing top 4.
No, we're not finishing top 7 at
yeah.
this point, probably. Well, I shouldn't say that.
We might finish top 7.
I was thinking about that as
fair.
I was walking up today. I was thinking,
We're 6 points off at Everton in 7th.
and
Who just beat Liverpool?
my
But
thing,
Liverpool is 6 on the same number
Yeah.
of points as
I don't
Everton.
want to be petty, but I'm going to do it. I want to finish above Tottenham. That is
Oh, absolutely.
That is,
we haven't had a
We haven't done that.
I would like to celebrate St. Totteringham's Day.
It's been, what, 3 years?
Yeah.
because at this point, you know, maybe I'm beating a dead horse here, but yeah, I'm.
But when we say that, are we turning into Tottenham? Because Tottenham, like Arsenal think about winning leagues, and Tottenham think about finishing above
Right.
Arsenal. Have we switched?
No, because I mean we have a name for it, for Christ's sake. It's St. Totteringham's Day. Like it's a
Yeah.
thing. Like it's not what we aspire to, but
But
a thing
it's
you can
like
hang your
it's like
hat
a
on.
last ditch. Hey, we can celebrate this.
Like
thing.
look, like I'm an A's fan, and Dallas Braden with that perfect game in I want to say it was 2010. Like that year was garbage, and they made a giant mural of him on the outfield wall because that was the only good thing to happen. Like sometimes when you are rebuilding and you are figuring things out, you glom on to what you can.
Sure.
Put out DVDs of Carling Cup victories.
Right.
I
And
would
so,
just like to point out that this is the second straight podcast that Ryan has mentioned the Oakland Athletics. So can we make it 3 in a row? Tune in next week to find out.
You never know. It's entirely possible. But yeah, I mean, I think like there is what you want, and then there is what you have, and you know, there's nothing wrong with wanting to feel good about a thing. Even
I was
if
waiting
it
for
is
you to sing the Rolling
Schadenfreude.
Stones song just now.
Sometimes, no, we're not going that far. But no, you know, Schadenfreude being what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to feel good about a thing, and you know, like I don't think any of us are gonna say, "Yeah, man, we're back. We finished above Tottenham when like we're in 7th and they're in 8th." No one's gonna be like, "Oh, we've got our Arsenal back." But at the same time, it's like, look, this year was a dumpster fire, but
Yeah.
hey, look at them.
Also, we
semblance
still
of
have the
progress.
third best. We still have the third best defense in the league based upon goals scored. And how many years has the defense been a problem for us?
Right.
So if we improve the attack, if we get better in attack next season, you know what I mean?
Well,
Man City have given up 15 goals because they brought Ruben Diaz in, and he's their Virgil van Dijk. He's exactly what they needed. They already had Laporte, who is stellar. You know, John Stones has made a resurgence this year, but Man City have given up 15 goals, right? Chelsea have given away 25 goals, and we've given away 26. We're tied with Aston Villa in that regard.
Yeah, but we just can't score. And to your point, I feel like, honestly, like Liverpool and Chelsea not Chelsea and City have gone and gotten Van Dijk and Diaz, and like that's been that's what they had to do to shore up their defense. And
I think Gabriel is that guy for us going forward.
He is, and like that's the thing is like it seems to me that it's harder
doesn't matter
to sort
who plays
out
next to him.
No, and it's harder
Just
to
like
sort out
Liverpool.
defense than
Gomez,
it is to sort out going forward.
Fucking Matip, whoever,
right?
Oben Kazak or even Henderson or
God,
Fabinho.
how bad did he look at the?
He looked terrible. Ozan Kabak is his name, and he looked really bad. But he's like 12 years old, so I'm not gonna say he's trash or he's a flop.
Should have taken Mustafi. Mustafi would have done better.
Nah.
But no,
probably not.
My point is that like it seems to me that it's easier to sort out an attack than it is to sort out a defense, and we have the defense sorted out. I think yes, it came at the expense of our attack, but I think now in the next transfer window we focus on what we're going to do to shore up that offense. Because
we buy Odegaard, or we buy, you know what I mean? We go back in for Aouar.
Exactly. Yeah, and like it won't take a ton to get us, because to your point, like we're allowing so few goals that we don't need a world-beating offense necessarily to win games. So as long as we can get something that just puts us just over that edge to get a couple more a week, we're going to be in a hell of a lot better position than we are
We
now.
allowed 1 goal to a team that's averaging 2 goals per game.
Yeah, and has
today,
and
they're in first place by a
that.
considerable margin.
Yeah,
it's we're not bad. They're in first place by 10 points over second place Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, no one. I don't think anyone walked into this bar thinking that we're going to win this game. Now, is that defeatist? Maybe, but it's also realistic.
I was thinking we were going to win, but I am often wrong.
I mean, I figured that I called it 3-1 to City.
Yeah.
And so
I felt if we held City to less than 2 goals, we had a chance to take points off of them.
Well, and by the end,
we did.
Yes,
we did hold them to less, and we did have a chance to take points off.
Yeah,
of them.
I mean, I am honestly pleased with the fact that at 90+2 we're pressing them and they're just clearing it deep to just get the ball out of pressure. Like I never expected us to be in that position against City today. And so, moral victory, whatever, but it's a sign of progress. It's movement in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's where we need to be. So that was, it was about what we expected, maybe a little bit better than we expected. It's not what we wanted, but this year you can't always get what you want, to your point, Tom.
Are we back with Benfica?
We are back with
Thursday?
Benfica on Thursday at home in Athens. Thank you so much, COVID-19.
Home in Athens.
Yes, we're racking
Maybe we'll
up
get
those.
to see our man Socrates.
Yes, we are racking up those freaking flyer miles this year. But that's where we're going next. We got, I feel like we outplayed them last week, so it's just a matter of Alba misses that sitter, and we all of a sudden have a win. So I think it's going to be good next week, and we will see you next time. Until then, this is the Richmond Gooners podcast.
Yaga Najah.